Good morning, everyone. My name is Luis Del Orbe. I am a problem gambling prevention and treatment administrator for the Council of Compulsive Gambling of New Jersey. I would like to welcome you all and glad you all can join us. If I may take some time just to thank Ms. Felicia Groden for our interim executive director of the council. Ms. Alice, everyone is aware of Ms. Alice. Ms. Alice, thank you for joining us. I would like to also welcome Ms. Fran. I saw Ms. Fran a little while ago. I don't see her anymore, but I want to thank you all for joining us. Ms. Mindy Pagan over from the City of Passaic Board of Education School District. Thank you for joining us. Ms. McCormick, Ms. Judy, how are you? Good morning. So this morning we are going to be talking about the issue of professional gamblers. Now, one of the reasons that I decided to present this issue and bring this webinar up is because of a discussion that I had with a couple of young men over in a program that I was facilitating in the city of Passaic. It seems that many of our young people, because of the environment and everything that has been pushing with gambling, especially with sports gambling, it seems that a lot of our young people have decided that maybe gambling is a way for them to make money. It's a way for them to make a living. This webinar is not presented in any kind of way to discourage or encourage anyone to pursue in any endeavor dealing with professional gamblers. The webinar is basically for information and education. We hope from the Council of Compulsive Gambling, we do hope that you walk away with some information, useful information that you can pass on. This webinar, one of the things that one of our hopes is that to make sure that whatever information we bring you, you also pass that information on. Like many of you in the world of recovery, know that the saying that says, in order for you to keep what you have is to give it away. So we definitely hope that in time that you do decide to forward this information. Okay. So going forward, who are we? The Council of Compulsive Gambling of New Jersey Incorporated is neither for nor against gambling. Okay, gambling is a legal business within the state of New Jersey and many states across the United States. So we're not for or against gambling. What we are for is to be able to assist the problem gambler and his family and know that they're not alone. There is help. There's support. There's treatment. And you're most definitely very welcome to always reach out for us for any kind of support or any kind of information that you may have in this area. So with this webinar, one of the things that we would like to put forward is for the participant to be aware of what is a professional gambler and what is required to be considered a professional gambler. This is a legal business that the United States does recognize. There are, the IRS has the different codes, the Treasury Department have different codes in how to deal with professional gamblers. So we're going to discuss how a person becomes or considers themselves a professional gambler and how they are recognized. Okay, participants are also be made aware of the risk of pursuing a career as a professional gambler. Just like any other venture, there are its pros and there are its cons. So there are certain risks. And participants shall be made aware that if they or anyone, should they develop a gambling problem, where to go for help. Okay. So in saying that and going forward, what is gambling? Gambling, there's many definitions and many things around the world where we may go, where someone have difference when it comes to gambling. So let's take Webster, Merriam-Webster. It says the practice of activity of betting money and the practice of risking money in a game or bet. Risk. Gambling, always there is a big risk factor. You're always risking something, okay? Gambling, also known as betting, is the wager of something of value, okay? Whether it's money, whether it's your car. Listen, we have issues. We have situations where individuals have also bet not only their house, their car, they have also put people at stake. They have also risked individual. We have one gentleman who in a poker game put his wife up because he had ran out of money. He believed he had the winning hand. And one of the things that he did is he put his wife as a stake. He told the person that he was playing against, should you win, you could have my wife for 24 hours. Okay. These situations can get really bad. So when we're talking about gambling, we just want to understand this game of chance and what are the definitions when it comes to gambling. The United States, under Title 18, they define gambling as this. Gambling is accepting, recording. The reason why I emphasize on recording is because of what we're going to talk about later on. But this is how the United States define gambling. It's accepting, recording, or registering bets, or carrying on a policy game or any other lottery, or playing any game of chance for money or other thing of value. Okay, so these are the different definitions when it comes to gambling. Risk. What type of risk is gambling? Okay, gambling and investing in the stock. A lot of people don't see investing in stock as gambling. It's very much gambling. Okay, this is what's called is speculative risk, which means it offers a chance to make money, lose money, or walk away even. Now compare this to pure risk. In a pure risk, you would say it's either all or nothing. In pure risk, you either lose it all or you gain it all. Okay, so in gambling, there is that chance of you walking away even. Okay, you're gonna lose. You can lose some money, and you can win some money, but you can also walk away even, depending on you. Okay, gambling as a profession. Who qualifies? So I told you the United States, they do recognize gambling. It is a profession, and many people do it. So to qualify as a professional gambler, in other words, this is your business. You are in the business of gambling, okay? You must show that you are legitimately engaged in gambling activities with the expectation of turning a profit. Okay. Now, who doesn't gamble to trying to turn a profit, right? But not everyone that gambles, not every person that thinks that they're a professional gambler actually is. This is the type of thing where many people engage, many people participate, but not all actually are considered professional gamblers, okay? And the reason why the United States and the Treasury Department have certain codes, because as gamblers, when gamblers engage in this activity, there are tax write-off. Just like anyone else, you got to pay taxes with your wins. Well, you also can write off certain things. If this is your business, like for instance, a professional gambler can deduct, meals, trips to casinos and such. Okay, so this is a business venture. However, how profitable of a business venture is this? Okay. How much of a good decision is this business venture? Okay, as you know, if you're aware of what we do, we are an organization who refer problem gamblers who call our helpline and tie them with professionals who are trained in the area of gambling addiction. Okay. We, most of all, and those of us who are engaged in this profession of helping gamblers have heard the stories. So we know they are risk. Okay. It's not just you gambling and you're trying to make money or lose money, whatever it is. They are risk. They are real world risk when it comes to gambling. Okay. And these are the things that we're going to discuss. It's not just you trying to go in there and make money, make a profit. There are side effects, things that can happen when you engage in this activity. Okay. So the Treasury Department, like I told you, they have a regulation. The manner in which the taxpayer carries on the activities carried in a business-like manner maintains complete and accurate books and records of the activity. Many people engage in gambling as a business. And you can file taxes based on that business just like any other business. However, many individuals that file taxes claiming to gambling to be a business are challenged in court by the IRS. Okay. And usually when the IRS decides to challenge this type of business, they usually prevail because of everything that it details. We're going to cover some of the stuff that this details, but just know that if people goes into this venture, there are times that the IRS will challenge. Is this one of the business that's most challenged by the IRS? I was looking at court cases, and it's challenged quite often because of the nature of the business. You know, you are basically self-employed as a professional gambler. Okay, so it is up to you to maintain very immaculate records. Okay, because for those who are challenged, the IRS are going to require this, and so does the court. Okay, some of the factors under the Treasury Department regulations, this will consider in order for the IRS and the Treasury Department to consider you. Okay, some of the factors are the manner in which the taxpayer carries on the activity. A lot of gamblers, they have advisors, and the advisors' services are also put into the taxes. You know, the money that you pay this advisor is deductible. Okay, so they want to make sure that this person that advises you or your expertise, the time and effort that the taxpayer spent in carrying on this activity. Okay. How much time do you dedicate to your business, to your profession? Now, one thing you also have to know is that 98% of professional gamblers also have another job. Okay. 98% of professional gamblers also have another job. This is not, for the most part, this is not the individual's sole source of income. Okay. And the reason for that is because a professional gambler knows the ups and downs of his profession or her profession. There are both males and female professional gamblers out there. Okay. Profit. How often do you win? You know, I read a paper, and I read an article written by other individuals who are part of the Council of Compulsive Gambling, Mr. Ed Looney being one of them. Some of the articles that they represent there shows the percentages and how frequently people win when it comes to gambling. You going into this venture, you going into this business venture, you have to know what it details. You have to know that this is not a thing where you're just going to spend 8 hours a day, okay, 5 hours a week, you know, 5 days throughout your week in venturing this activity. And you're going to have losses. You're going to have days where you're going to absolutely not win at all. Okay, we're going to talk about some of those percentages later on. But when it comes to the amount of occasional profit and how it is reported and how it is considered for the IRS, is we're going to discuss it because it's very different and it's tricky. Okay. So in the United States, right now, there are approximately 100,000 to 700,000 professional gamblers nationwide. Why such a disparity in these numbers? Okay. 100,000 to 700,000. See, this change every tax year. Every tax year, it changes. Okay. And looking at some of the research papers, you have some individuals that, you know, they don't make no money at all. They don't have no income. They don't bring in, so they move something else, and then they don't claim it. Other things cannot be claimed. So every year, that number changes. You don't have the same amount of individuals claiming to be professional gamblers. It all depends on how they do throughout that year. So this is why the disparity is so wide. So what is the average professional gambler salary? Now, these are by states, and we're going to talk about, some of the other things. But look at Massachusetts. Okay, the average salary, and this is the high end. These are some of the states where they have the high end. The average salary is $51,000. We have all heard stories of gamblers who have made it big. For instance, here in New Jersey, Don Johnson. We all heard the story of Don Johnson, right? That took Atlantic City for, I believe it was $15.1 million. I took Atlantic City for. That was done throughout a 3-month period, okay? This is not what you call the norm, okay? There's not the norm where these professional gamblers go to Atlantic City, go to Las Vegas or any sports book or any sports bettor, and they hit it big, okay? Don Johnson is an exception. He put to the side. How he did that, we're going to discuss that as well, okay? But looking at the salaries of the gambler, okay? The annual salary in Massachusetts is $51,974, which runs down to about $24.99, $25 an hour. Then we look down in New Jersey. The average annual salary of a professional gambler in New Jersey, as declared, is $41,000, which an hour the person is making about $20 an hour. Florida, $37,000. An hourly rate of about $17.84 an hour. Okay. Now, this report came from data that came out of our ADP. As you know, ADP is a payroll company, and they provide this type of information through ZipRecruiter. And sometimes the risk, like I said, this webinar is not intended for anyone to be encouraged or discouraged. We're just giving you the facts and information, educate individuals when it comes to gamblers, to professional gamblers. As I mentioned before, there's a lot of young men. And when I say young men, I'm looking at the range between 20 to about 50, from 20-year-old to about 50, that are heavily engaged in this activity. They see every once in a while, they'll make a profit. But we got to understand the nature of gambling, right? Okay, that in the long run, gambling is designed to hold you there, right? In the long run, you will make money, you will lose money. But gambling is designed in the long term that you have a high probability of losing money. Vegas has been built on losses, right? On gambling losses. Okay, we're going to discuss later on how much money this business is making, okay, and why certain people have fallen in some of the risk of why certain people do certain things when it comes to this industry. Okay, but these are the annual salaries. I'll tell you one thing, because of the uncertainty of the business, I think I'll take my chance of going to college and become a professional in another area. Okay, because so some of the salaries of a professional gambler is really, depending on the area you live in, it does not really sustain cost of living. Okay, look at New Jersey, 41,642. That is the average annual salary of a professional gambler in the state of New Jersey. Okay, that's actually lower than the national average. We're going to see the national average later on. So some of the top earners, this is nationwide. Okay, nationwide, some of the top earners are making nearly $90,000. Okay, but those are the top earners. The 25 percentile of professional gamblers make around $27,000 a year. Okay? Gives them a weekly paycheck of about $519. But the average, like I was saying, the average nationwide is about $48,000. Okay? So compare the risk, compare everything that comes along with this profession, comparing all the negative effects that pursuing such a profession can have on you. Sometimes we have to really you try to weigh out the risk in all this. Okay? So you have a high, you have some professional gamblers that make as much as $100,000, $105,000. And like I was saying, in the case of Mr. Don Johnson, where he did make such a large amount of money, $15 million in a 3-month period. A lot of people will see that, well, listen, this is a good risk. Okay? But we have to understand the percentage of people that are doing this. How many, out of all the ones that are there that are trying, how many are actually making it to that level? And we just got to keep that in mind. It's a risk to just about everything. Okay? So who makes it as a professional gambler? Okay. Only half of 1% of the population. 0.5%, half of 1% make it as a professional gambler. And only about 13.5% of professional gamblers have a winning streak at any given time. Like I was saying, the disparity between who is a professional gambler, who is considered a professional gambler, changes every year is because of this. You're not going to win consistently, not in this game, not in this profession. Okay? There are many factors that come into play. True. Remember, we have talked about gambling as a game of chance, right? But there are certain aspects, there are certain games within gambling that do require some skills and practices. There are people that practice their skill, but even through practicing the skill, to practicing this business, to practicing, to doing good business within this business has a risk. Okay, and a very low percentage of those engaging in this activity, very low percentage, okay, are actually making money. Okay. What does it take? So here's some of the traits that a professional gambler will demonstrate. Okay. A professional gambler approaches betting as a job. This is his or her business. They maintain and they have they're very good at precision money management. As you all may know, sometimes a person's personality can be their worst enemy, who you are and things like that. As a professional gambler in this area, because of the way it is, because of the high emotional factor, because of all those, the hurrah, of all the hype that goes into gambling. We got to remember, gambling, it's a lot of psychology in gambling. Okay, a lot of psychology. These are legal business. Like I said, we're not for or against gambling. The council does not have a stand for or against gambling. Okay. In fact, we do work. We do collaborate with casinos and and business out there dealing with gambling in order for us to be able to treat the effect that individual have that engage in gambling. Okay, so we're not for this. We're not against this industry. We're just trying to give people information, but we got to know that psychology, these individuals are trying to draw you in. Companies out there are competing for the money in your pocket, and what they're competing for, and the tools that they'll use to try to get that money out your pocket. Okay, sometimes you're in psychological warfare when it comes to a lot of these businesses. Okay, but professional gamblers, they hold certain personal traits, certain character traits that allow them to do what they do. Okay, they take calculated risk, and they know when they have an edge. Okay? And a professional gambler must always stay under control. And one thing a professional gambler, and I talked with some individuals who I know that make this a profession for them. One of the things that they do is you got to know when to get up. You got to know when it's time for you to move. Okay. And if it's time for you to move, you do not stay there and chase those losses. They know that. One of the things that Don Johnson said, he had a system with obviously he had a system with what he did in Atlantic City. But he said he sat at the table, and when the dealer ran out of $25,000 chips, he got up. It doesn't matter where he was. It doesn't matter if he had a streak, if he was going, if he was winning. In his mind, that's what he set himself to do. He said, once that dealer runs out of those chips, I'm out of the table. Okay. So you got to have certain discipline and certain emotional control when it comes to this business. If you are going to go into this business and venture into this business, you must. Okay. Why is it so difficult? Why is it so difficult for individuals to make it in this business? First of all, let's talk about how gambling is designed. Let's think about the kind of money that's being invested in this business. Okay. A global market for gambling has estimated as of 2020 that gambling is over a $700 billion business. In 6 years, just in 6 years, they believe that it's going to grow to over $876 billion. Okay. This is going to get a whole lot higher before it goes lower. Some of us in this business, we see a lot of the stuff that's going on when it comes to gambling. How the next generation is being primed to gambling. Okay. Listen, gambling is designed to deceive and distort reality. It is. Lights, so much excitement, sound. It's meant to keep you there. It's meant to keep you there for as long as possible, to keep you playing for longer periods of time, even when you no longer see yourself having fun. For those of you that sometimes walk into a casino, you will see individuals sitting at a table or sitting in front of a slot machine. They're not smiling. They have this stern face on their look. A lot of them are biting their lips. There are those who pound their leg, but yet they sit there. They're frustrated. Some become depressed. So what is it that's holding them there? What is it that's keeping them glued to that chair, to that table? It's just the promise of what's to come. Yeah. And the whole thing, most gamblers, we talk about recreational gamblers. Most recreational gamblers, even when they're losing, the environment can make you feel like you're winning. Okay? A gambler, in order for you to turn a profit, it is said that in order for a gambler to turn a profit, you have to win 53 to 56% of the time. Okay? You think you're breaking even if you win and you lose 50% of the time. Or I win 50% of the time, I lose 50% of the time. No, you're losing. Because there's certain handicaps and there's certain factors that are factored in by the business. So if you are winning 50% of the time, eventually you're losing. Okay. You have to actually win at least 53 to 56% of the time in order to come out with a profit. Okay. The uncertainty of the game. That is what is so appealing and so addictive. So a person that's pursuing a business, a career out of professional gambling, that person has to really be set in his reality. Am I gambling because I want to make this a business, or has this become an addiction for me? Okay. And just like anything, anything else, you have to be up on your game. You have to be on point. Because sometimes you might not know. You might not be able to catch yourself in the proper way, or have someone, guide you. Says, listen, I think it's time to stop. I'm going to tell you a story that I dealt with in one of my ventures, in one of my trips. I was told about this 29-year-old young lady who went to the casinos to celebrate her 29th birthday. She went there with 4 other friends. There was 5 of them. And they didn't know, that she had this bug for gambling. All they knew was when they tried to get her off the table or away from the casino floor, she says, look, it's my birthday. This is where I want to be. So her friends backed away. Listen, it's her birthday. She's right. She could do whatever she wants for her birthday. This group of friends went there on Friday evening, and they ended their venture on Sunday morning. By Sunday morning, this young lady was dead. She committed suicide. During that 1 weekend period, this young lady lost over $283,000. Okay. Her friends went, they enjoyed showed and things like that. There was a lot of guilt with them when I was told the story by them but I try to encourage them and try to tell them, to let them, reassure them, listen, it's not your fault. Says, yeah, but what if we could have just pulled her away? Even if she got mad at us, could have grabbed her and just pulled her away, she would be alive today. Okay. This business is signed for this. Okay. You all know when it comes to gambling, the longer you gamble, the more of a chance that you will lose. Okay. But there are some people that'll stay there because although they're losing, it's fun. They believe they're being entertained. This is why you have to always have that other person, that outside person looking in to make sure that you're going to be okay. Now let's talk about the personal cost when it comes to pursuing this relationship. Divorce rate for problem gamblers, as of I believe it was 2014, was 53.5%. So problem gamblers have a high rate of divorce. Suicide attempts are also high in this venture. 1 in 5. Okay, the highest among addiction. Okay. Now let's talk about the health issues. The migraines that people go through. I know that these are some things that people have naturally, but we're talking about a healthy person, a person that is healthy going into trying to pursue this business venture and eventually ends up getting hooked. You go through a lot of health issues. So these are some of the things that you have to take under consideration. These are some of the things that must come in. One of the things that we say at the Council of Compulsive Gambling is that gambling is not an individual disease. Gambling is a family disease. It doesn't just affect the gambler. And I'm going to go one step further. Gambling is a problem of society. Because the gambler will affect at least 11 people in a negative way. A problem gambler will affect in a negative way at least 11 people around them. Okay, a lot of problem gamblers, they get caught up with the legal system. Okay, so in order to sustain their gambling addiction, sometimes they will steal, they will rob, they will hurt people. They'll borrow money, within the family, and they'll burn a lot of bridges. Okay, so it's going to impact the family in a very negative way. It's going to be a lack of trust. And we have to think about the financial impact that a gambler within a family will have. If that gambler is, gambling the rent or the mortgage, the food, during the time, I don't even remember, a couple of years ago that the lottery, I believe, was up like, it was ridiculous amount, 1 point something billion dollars. There was one lady who had a dream. She had a dream that she won that jackpot. And she bet everything that she could. She was able to, she bought so many lotteries. She bought hundreds of lottery tickets every single time. Okay, the dream did not come true. She lost her money. Eventually, she could not pay the rent. It was hard for her to feed the kids, her children, because she was a single mom of 3. Eventually, she lost the children. She ended up being homeless. She lost the children. DCPMP took the children. She's in the process. She's still in the process of, and how many years ago was this? She's in the process of still trying to get back her children. This has a very effect on a whole lot of people. And it's very important for us to know the side effects and the collateral damage that's done when it comes to gambling, the legal problems. I know the DSM-5, and those of you who deal with the DSM-5, they used to have 10 criteria when it comes to when you screen for gamblers. Now they only have 9. They took away the legal, because not every gambler falls into legal issues, but most gamblers do get into some kind of legal trouble. Most gamblers do eventually end up committing some sort of crime or doing something illegal in order to sustain and maintain their addiction, in order to feed their addiction, to be involved in their addiction. Okay? So this was some of the things that you have to take under account when pursuing a venture such as this. Okay? We're not saying don't, we're not saying do. We're saying make an educated decision when it comes to this. Okay. And if at any time something comes up when you need information about this, we are a source of information. You can call us. We have providers throughout the state, individuals that train. One of the things that we encourage many of you who are holding license, many of you who are part of agencies that dealing with addiction, give us a call. Let's talk about treatment expansion. We have a treatment expansion. Let's talk about screening for gambling. Okay. Give us a call, ask us for information. One thing that we're trying to do is we're trying to get everyone that wants help within the state of New Jersey to know that there is help. Okay. So we're lacking. We're lacking in certain areas because this business of gambling is going to get a whole lot worse before it gets better. Okay. We are training the next generation of gamblers everywhere we go. Okay. Video games, are now engaging gambling. There's a lot of gambling gaming. So a lot of the young people are already being introduced to gambling at a very young age. For those of you who know someone who might have a gambling problem, you will know that that person might have been exposed to gambling due to a family member. For some, an uncle taking them to the track, granddad taking them to bingo. Sometimes during Christmas, what do? We put scratch off as a stuffing stocker. Now, we know if they win, they cannot claim that prize, right? Because they're underage, but we put it in there anyway. So there's a lot of things going on out there that's training the next generation when it comes to gambling. So if you have any issues, you have anything, give us a call. We may, our Our helpline is manned 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, even off hours. When the office is closed and you make that call, somebody will pick up that line. Okay. And now because of COVID and another thing we do, a lot of people working remotely. So we work in remote as well. We go in person, but we also work remotely. So your calls, your inquiries, they will reach us and we will reach out. We refer people to Gamblers Anonymous. We're not part of Gamblers Anonymous. We're not, but we do believe in the fellowship that Gamblers Anonymous have. So when people call us and they say, listen, I'm having issues, but I'm not ready to do this. I'm not ready to have a professional or have therapy or things like that. I would like to go to a meeting. So you know what? We'll send you to the meeting. We'll give you information on how to find a meeting near you. Okay. But like I said, we're not part of Gamblers GA, but we know of the success stories that they have had. So we'll refer people to that. Gambling, as you know, this is information towards the family. Okay. So these are individuals that support the gamblers. So that's what Gambling is about. So this is the information. This way you go get help. Any questions, any comments, please give us a call and let us know. Now, I would like to consider this a discussion. I have not been able to go into the chat, but anyone, I don't know if the, Ms. Felicia, do you know if they have, if the people have the ability to unmute and ask questions if they want? So if you have the ability, I'm going to go into the chat now, and any questions that you may have, we can do. Yes, Ms. Deborah, embezzlement is also fairly common. That's one of the issues that a lot of individuals had, you know, because there are those who have access to money. They have access to other people's money. And if that person has a problem gambling, then yeah, embezzling is definitely part of it. So we have Mr. Phillips says, folks who are thinking about becoming professional gamblers have a desire to gamble. Yes, they do. This is why you have to keep yourself in check. This is why you have to be able to go out there and, you know what? One of the things that I do, I encourage individuals not to gamble alone, not to go out to places alone. Okay, have someone with you. But we tend to be with people who are like-minded. Okay, so if you're a gambler and you know there might be an issue with you gambling, don't go somewhere with someone who you believe, a friend, who you believe also has a gambling problem. Because what that person is going to do is that they're just going to validate your action. They're not going to go against, they're not going to go against what you, or even be able to advise you in a different way. Okay? So just be aware of that. Go with someone, be aware with someone to, you know, that's going to be able to help you instead of, you know, get you more into a bind. So we have Ms. Felicia. It says, are there signs that may indicate a gambling addiction that should be taken into consideration for those thinking about professional gambling career? Ms. Felicia, thank you. Yes. One of the heavy signs, one of the big signs, one of the most telling signs of gambling addiction is preoccupation. Okay. Those who are preoccupied with gambling or even gaming. For instance, I'm working, but last night I was gambling, or I was doing something in gaming. Now that I'm working today, I'm still thinking about what I did yesterday. I'm preoccupied with what I did yesterday. I might be preoccupied with, you know, what are the odds for the next game? What am I going to place my bet in the next game? So preoccupation is a very telltale sign. Listen, like I said, this is a discussion. So if any one of you would like to be able to chime in and answer some of these questions, that's fine. Phil, how you doing, Phil? I see Phil is up in the office. I'm not able to hear you, right, Phil? I believe you're muted. No, you're still muted. Okay, maybe you don't have, do you have the ability to unmute yourself, Phil? No. Okay, so Ms. Klein has a question. Is there a high level of gambling with those on disability who are trying to live on very limited income? Gambling addiction does not discriminate. Doesn't matter whether your age, disability, race, creed, sexual orientation, definitely not. It does not discriminate. There are those, I must tell you, there are those, okay, who are more prone to gambling than others. If you're under a stressful situation, if you're living under stress, that can also contribute and can put you at risk. As a social worker, one of the things that I do is I work with individuals with special needs children. I work with children who have autism. And look at the business that I'm in. One of the things that I did not consider is the stress that often parents have, parents of children with autism, the stress that they're under, the constant pressure that they're under. Many parents of special needs children use gambling as a diversion, as a way to escape. And I came aware of this in at the end of 2018, where someone told me, listen, we have a group of parents of special needs children who are in a financial bind. So we started discussing, we got into a forum and we discussed an issue. So we found out that these parents did. And a lot of them, mom and dad, they were not aware of the situation they had. Mom was into scratch off. Dad was into the online betting. And they would go off to the different spaces. When dad was out, he was always on the phone. There were sometimes he said he didn't want to come home because of the household, everything was going on in the household. So he would park somewhere. He would park in a parking lot and just go into the app. Okay. But these situations do bring other stress, because now not only do you have that stressful family situation, you also have financial stress, and you're dealing with a situation that's going to make your family, even worse, make your family situation even worse. All right. So Miss Mindy Pagan, she says, does the typical professional gambler have a preference in a type of gambling? Casino versus horse racing versus lottery. Each type of gambling has its own allure. There are people, I have spoken to people who says, you know what? I don't gamble. I'm not going to go into the casino. Okay. I don't do that. But they engage in bingo every single week, 5-6 times a week. You're gambling. We had a call one time from a granddaughter who believed that her grandmother had a gambling problem. So it just so happened that this lady, older lady, she was 89, her and her friends would get together, and they had this circuit that they went to. They had the churches and the civic centers. They went to bingo 6 times a week. Okay, 6 times a week. And they were always into lottery. Needless to say, we were able to reach out to this group. Now they have a knitting group. So they get together and they knit instead of going and playing bingo. But, a lot of people don't consider certain things as gambling. Okay. But yes, it depends. Some people are lured into casinos. That's why you see them going to every chance they get. They go on posting, and then they see trips that are going to Atlantic City. So they could go to Atlantic City and be able to gamble. So different gamblers have different preference. Now, to get specific to your question, Ms. Pagan, do professional gamblers have a preference type of gambling? Yes. You will not find a professional gambler at a slot machine. Okay. You will not find a professional gambler at the roulette wheel. Most professional gamblers will stick to poker or blackjack. That's what a professional, most professional gamblers stick to. The reason for that is because that has a certain type of skill set to them. It has a way, it has some sort of control that they can do. You got some professional gamblers out there that are very successful. And one of the things, the main things a lot of them say is that I sit there and I wait for the dealer to make a mistake. And when the dealer makes a mistake, I capitalize off that dealer. So they're sitting there, they're waiting. Remember what before in one of the other slides, I said, the dealer knows, the gambler will know when he has an edge. Well, that's when he knows. Also, be at a poker table with people who might not be so good at playing poker. So, those type of things. This is why certain gamblers stick to certain things. Okay. Poker and blackjack is one of the most, the one that professional gamblers do most. All right, let's go to another question here where we have, says, I work in a school. This is Ms. Deborah Zelis. I work in a school. Some of the similarities with gambling addiction and occurring with students and their cell phones. Cell phones very much an addiction. Ms. Deborah, I too go, I do presentations at schools, a lot of high schools, but we do elementary schools as well. One of the things a lot of school administrators, especially in the inner cities, I know there are many issues in the inner cities, and there are those that says, listen, we have a problem with guns, we have a problem with drugs. We don't have a gambling problem in our school, okay? Listen, I gambled in school. Okay, we pitch pennies, we play CeeLo. This gambling that goes on in the school. Cell phones are very much an addiction. However, now remember, cell phones it's not just the use of the cell phone. It's not just them texting with their friends or sending pictures or going back and forth. Now you don't have to go to Atlantic City. You don't have to go anywhere. You can find all that in your cell phone. Okay, underage gambling is very much an issue in our schools. Okay, children, you see them walking around with their phones. A lot of them are gambling. We did this little study with one of the schools that I was working with, and we asked that the participant document and record the many times that they open up their phone throughout the day, okay, and the time that they did it. Do you know, when we did that study, the average child, and these children were between grades 9 and 12. The average amount of time that they opened their phone was 936 in a day. That they went into their phone. 936 times was the average. Now, if that was the average, that means we had some that went to thousands. Okay? And the average time, the most time that they spent on the phone was between 1 o'clock in the morning and 5 in the morning. Ms. Barbara, that's why maybe some of the kids are falling asleep at school, because sometimes they're up texting on their phone all night long. Okay, we're coming up on the hour. We always like to finish on time and end on time. Like I said, we will encourage anyone, if you or someone you know has a gambling problem, give us a call. We're here to help. We're here to support. Our staff, we have a field staff that go out and do presentations. If you believe that our organization can help your organization by going into your facility, going into your agency, going into your organization and presenting our information, just bringing awareness, give us a call. We will go there. We will go to you, virtually or in person. We'll go there and we'll bring awareness. Okay. Does anyone have any comments or any questions? I know you can unmute yourself, but use the chat. This is my information. Here is my email address. Anyone can send me a message and I'll pass it on. If it's not referenced to me, we'll pass it on to someone else. Okay. So I would like to thank you for your time once again. We will if you know what we can do for those who register. I know everyone register, and we have your email to make sure that you will get your certificates for the CEU offer for this webinar. So I hope everyone's camera was on and your full name as you have it was typed into the thing, because that's just one of the requirements that we have. Well, thank you very much. I appreciate your time. Have a great day. Have a great weekend. And remember, if you're someone you don't have a gambling problem, call 1-800-GAMBLER. We're here 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. We provide treatment, hope, and support. And with that, I'll say thank you and have a great weekend.